Hello everyone, welcome to my Diabolos deck profile. This deck profile is going to be focused on the Diabolos cards that came out in the first set of Cardfight Vanguard overdress and the structure deck for Dark States that came out for Cardfight overdress. So let's get started by looking at the Ride deck. And as you guys know, the Ride deck consists of 4 cards that are outside the deck that you can ride from by discarding a card from your hand. And so here is the starter that I run. It's the, I believe there's another starter for Dark States that is also available that you could use, but I just like this one because I think the art of him is super cool. So this is Diabolos Innocent Matte, and when this unit is rode upon, if you went second, you get to draw a card. Just like all of the other starters that you can use, they all have the same effect. So I'm gonna set that there. The second card I use in my Ride deck is Diabolos Bad Steve, and I use this one from the starter deck because each one of these cards that I'm using in my Ride deck kind of go off of each other, and you'll see that with this effect right here. So Diabolos Bad Steve has an effect when this unit is placed on Vanguard. Choose a card from your soul, call it to your back row, center, rear guard, and soul charge 1. And then he has a continuous skill on rear guard, but you're not going to be using that because this is in your Ride deck. It's only a rear guard skill. If you are in Final Rush, this unit gets plus 5,000. So that is the grade 1 I use in my Ride deck. Here is the grade 2 that I use, Diabolos Anger Richard. And he has an auto skill. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, put a rear guard in your soul and draw a card. There's the grade 2. Here is the grade 3. Probably wasn't hard to guess. He's the main card from the starter deck that came out for Dark States, and he is Diabolos Violence Bruce. And he has an auto skill at the start of your ride phase if you are Final Rush, which is specific units get a power up when you are in Final Rush. He also has another auto skill on Vanguard when this unit attacks. If you are in Final Rush, Soul Blast 5 and stand all of your front row rear guards. That's it for my Ride deck. So let's get into the main deck, and I'll first be showing you guys the grade 3s. I run 3 of the Diabolos Violence Bruce, and I just read you his effect, so I'm not going to read it again. But he's just wonderful for standing all your front row rear guards, so you can get off a lot of attacks in a turn. So there's my 3 Diabolos, and the next grade 3 I run is also support for the Final Rush cards, and her name is Upward Acrobat Majorie, something like that. And anyways, she has a once per turn rear guard skill. When this unit attacks, if you are in Final Rush, put one of your other rear guards in your soul, draw a card, and soul charge 1. And this unit gets plus 10,000 until the end of turn. So this is just good for having a rear guard that has a huge number that you can hit your opponent with. And this is also really good to combo with Bruce because you can just restand her and then also hit for another big number. So I run 4 of her. She's a good support for the Final Rush gimmick in this deck. So that was it for the grade 3s. Let's move on to the grade 2s. And the first grade 2 I'm going to show you guys is a playset of Diabolos Boys Eden. And I love this card so much. It's so nasty. It came out in the first set for Cardfight Vanguard overdress. And his effect is on rear guard continuous effect. If you are in Final Rush, this unit gets plus 5. And if this unit is stood this turn by a card effect, it gets a crit. And he has an auto skill on rear guard. When this unit attack hits, counter blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and retire it. So yeah, 2 really great skills. He can get a crit by his own effect, and he can also buff himself up by counter blasting 1. Really love this card. It's insane when you combo it with Bruce, and you just have something that stands for another crit. It's an awesome card. Now I'll show you guys the next grade 2 that I run. Diabolos Anger Richard. He's the same one from our Ride deck, and I run him, you know, obviously not for his first skill because that's for the Vanguard, but I run him for his second continuous rearguard skill, and it is if you are in Final Rush, this unit gets plus 5. It's just a really nice basic skill to have, something that can hit over your opponent's rearguards if they got a buff on them or something like that. So he's basically a 15k vanilla if you're in Final Rush and you put him on your rearguard. Here is the last grade 2 I'm going to show you guys. She's not a Diabolos card, but she's pretty good. Her name is Selfish Engraver, and she has an auto rearguard skill. When this unit attack hits, you get to soul charge 1, and then she has another auto rearguard skill. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, if your soul has 10 or more cards, put this unit into your soul and countercharge 1. So I just really like to run her as rearguard because it's pressure for your opponent to guard it so that she doesn't hit, and so that you don't get the soul charge 1. But of course it's also good for the other reason. If she hits, you get to build up your soul, so you can use your skill for Bruce that you have to soul blast 5 for. So that was it for the grade 2s. Let's move on to the grade 1s. And the first one I'm going to show you guys is one of the spell cards. I know it's not called spell cards. One of these days I'll get the actual name of these cards. Oh, there it is, the order cards. This is a normal order card. Okay, so this one is a grade 1, and it came in the set, and it's called Brother's Soul, and all it does is soul charges 2. I just run it so you can, kind of similar for the reason I run her, just so you can build up the soul of Bruce so you can stand your rear guards. So I run 3 Brother's Soul. Here is the next grade 1 I run. And this one came out in the, I believe it was the structure deck, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, it was a structure deck, and his name is Acrobat Presenter. And he has an auto rearguard skill. When this unit attacks or boosts, if your Vanguard is Diabolos, Violence, Bruce, soul charge 1, and then if you are in Final Rush, soul charge 1 again. So he's just another card that you can run on your rearguards that just builds your soul so you can idolize Bruce's effect, or utilize Bruce's effect, not idolize. Maybe you can idolize it. Okay, anyways, here's the next grade 1 I run, and its name is Protobulb Dragon, and this came out in the set as a rare, as you see, and his has an auto skill on rearguard. When this unit attacks or boosts, if you are in Final Rush, counterblast 1, put another rearguard in your soul, and choose a card from your soul and put it into your hand. So I like to run this card in case something that you like that's in your soul and you would like it into your hand. So I would run him in the back row of one of my, units, and when he attacks or boosts that unit, you can use his skill to take something from your hand that you don't really want and put it to your soul, and then take something from your soul and put it into your hand. So for example, if you have a perfect guard in your soul, or maybe a heal in your soul that you really want to use to guard your opponent, you could just use this guy to swap those 2 cards and get it into your hand so you can use it. So in going off of the perfect guards, here is my play set of, oh geez, how do you say this name? Recustle Hate Dragon. So this perfect guard has basically the same skills as all the other perfect guards that came out in the first set of Cardfight Vanguard overdress, and that when this unit is placed on the guard circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until the end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So I just like to run this one because, you don't have to do that second effect if you're super low of cards in your hand. So you just have, this card, another card in your hand. You don't have to discard for the effect. You could just be yeah, perfect guard, don't discard for the effect. So I just like to run for this one. If you don't have these, you can of course just run the one that we were given in the Dark State structure deck. And that was it for the grade 1s. So now I'll show you guys my trigger lineup. So I run 4 crit. I think there's another art of a different crit that came out in the set, but I just run the one from the structure deck because I think it's super cute. You have this lolly holding a huge freaking gun, and I love it. And her name is Diabolos Girls My. So there's 4 of that, 4 crit. And here are my draw triggers. I run, let's see, 7 of them. I'll tell you guys why. So this is 3 Vital Lever. I run a lot of draw triggers in here because I realized with a lot of play testing is that you run out of hand so easily in this deck, either by guarding or calling units, or your opponent killing, your rear guards, and you have to recall them back. It's so hard to have a hand in this deck, so that's why I run 7 draw triggers. Of course, I feel that, triggers are totally optional, or it's totally preference for the player, and you guys can just run whatever you want. This is just what I run in this deck that works for me. So here is the other draw trigger, Diabolos Boys Jake. I think he also came out in the structure deck. And then, of course, 4 heal of Diabolos Girls Ariana. And then here is the overtrigger, which is super awesome looking. I didn't realize he had such a long name. Hades Dragon Deity of Resiment, Gale Mageheld, I believe that's how you say his name. He's crazy looking. I don't know, it reminds me of Cthulhu a little bit. Anyways, or maybe the Grim Reaper or something. So, of course, you may only have one overtrigger in a deck. When revealed as a trigger, remove that card, draw a card, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 100 million to the end of turn. If revealed during drive check, activate its additional effect, and the additional effect is you get, during your turn, all of your rear guards get plus 10,000 and a crit until the end of this fight. So that's the overtrigger that I run for Dark States. And that was it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a deck that I have been having a lot of fun with, and I just wanted to share this deck profile with you guys. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of deck or you want to see next time, or what kind of fight you might want to see this, play against or something like that. Let me know if you want like a combo video or a tips video for this deck. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.